Feeling tight on time and looking for ways to make plant-based cooking faster? Maybe you've been in transition for a few weeks now and wonder whether there are ways to cut time in the kitchen and make things more sustainable. I get you. I have a busy life too and don't want to spend hours in the kitchen either. Well, let me tell you this. You don't have to. Not if you follow me and learn the tips and strategies I share. That's because I'm telling what will really work in real life from personal experience. So in this episode, let me share with you 3 easy strategies I use in the specific area of prepping and cooking with beans that helps me stay plant-based eating, even in the midst of the busyness. In fact, these exact strategies are used by some of my clients to help them sustain a plant-powered lifestyle, especially during super busy work weeks. So grab a cup of tea and let's get to it. Welcome to the Plant-Based Eating Made Easy podcast. I'm your host, Anna Zinn, plant-based registered dietitian and transition coach. Hi friend, do you want to regain your health with plant-based eating but feel overwhelmed and lost about how to do it? Do you feel it'll be hard to change your meat-heavy diet and impossible with working, running the home, or chasing after the grandkids? If so, you're in the right place. Here you'll find simple strategies, clear nutrition guidance, and practical tips to help you thrive plant-powered with more energy. So if you're ready to ditch the guesswork and transform your health the stress-free way, cozy up now with a hot cup of tea or listen while you walk, and let me show you how doable plant-based eating can be. Let's do this. Before we start, I want to read this student testimonial from the Plant-Powered Life Transformation course. Sandra says, "The course has helped me with my questions about plant-based nutrition in general. Also, I'm now a lot more confident and excited to try new plant-based recipes and am more intentional about adding more fruits and vegetables to my meals. I have found that you can actually enjoy plant-based meals and that there are so many different ways of making meals like beans and tofu." Thank you, Sandra, for this positive feedback on the PPLT course. Friend, if you would like to build a strong plant-powered life and reach those health and weight goals you've set for 2026, join me inside the online Plant-Powered Life Transformation course. And to help support you in your plant-based diet journey, I'm providing a voucher code you can use to get 20% off this course. Just enter the code NEWYEAR20, all one word, at checkout. But this code will only be valid until midnight this coming Friday, January 23rd, so don't miss it. Go to plantnourish.com/PPLT course or see the link in the show notes for more details and to join. Looking back, I remember the time when I first started my transition into plant-based eating. At that time, learning how to eat plant-based definitely took a lot of time. But that was because I had no guidance or support on how to do it, but was just trying to learn as I go. I was searching on the internet, spending time looking for good recipes to try, and then using a lot of time and energy shopping for the ingredients and trying out the recipes. Some turned out well, but others didn't. So things definitely took longer. But now, with more experience and years of eating plant-based under my belt, I see where I went wrong. I see now that my transition could have been way easier if only I had gotten good guidance and support right from the start, instead of just trying to figure everything out myself. That's why I'm passionate to share what I've experienced and what has helped me save money and precious time in kitchen prep, so that you can make more plant-based meals in an affordable and easier way. Today, I want to share how to do this in one specific area, prepping and cooking meals with beans, with 3 smart strategies you can use starting today. Here's the first strategy when it comes to buying and using legumes like beans, lentils, and soybeans. Where possible, I try to get dried versions in bulk over the canned versions. Here's why. When you're needing to make up a meal real fast, opening a can of unsalted chickpeas and then draining and rinsing them well before using can be a real time saver. It's quick and easy and will add an immediate plant-based protein boost to your meal. But while using the canned versions would definitely save some time, over time the cost of using these can add up. Let's compare. I recently checked the prices of canned versus dried black beans at Walmart. A 15-ounce can of black beans, giving roughly 1.5 cups worth, was selling for $1.42 in US dollars. This would probably be enough for a single serving meal for one person. Or you may need to use 2 cans to make a larger meal for a 2 to 4 person family, which would cost $2.84 in US dollars. On the other hand, a large 2-pound bag or 32-ounce bag of dried black turtle beans was selling for $4.18 in US dollars. Yes, it's more at face value when you first look at this, but let me tell you how many cups of cooked beans this can turn out to be for you. You can get 5 cups of dried beans from this, which translates to about 12 to 13 cups of cooked black beans. So even though the cost may be close to 3 times more than that for a 15-ounce can of beans, you could potentially get at least 8 times more cooked black beans. See the difference? Of course, prices may have changed by now, but you get the point. It will definitely be more cost-saving to get the dried beans compared to using canned beans. And the bigger the bags of dried beans you buy, the more cost-saving it could be. I have even seen 5-pound or 2.5-kilogram bags being sold. And don't worry, dried beans stay in good condition for at least 1 to 2 years and don't need to be refrigerated. Just find a spot in your pantry to store them. Now, what if you ask me, don't dried beans take a lot of time to cook up? Yes, these will obviously take longer to prepare than using canned versions. But here's a strategy to use to help you do so in less time. Pre-soak your beans. First, toss 2 to 3 cups of the dried beans in plenty of room temperature water overnight to soak up and expand. Then the next day, rinse the beans and put them in a fresh pot of water to boil up for at least 40 minutes on the stovetop and until cooked through. But because you have soaked the beans, it should be quicker to cook the beans up. Then drain these cooked beans to separate them from the cooking water and use the cooked beans in your recipe. Remember, while the beans are cooking, you can be doing other things like work or chores around the house. So it doesn't need to take extra or more time for you. You could just be doing other things during this time. Of course, if you have a pressure cooker like an Instant Pot, that can also be helpful here for cooking the soaked beans, as it will cut down your cooking time even more and allow you more freedom to focus on other things. I remember a friend from church from Brazil, and she was telling me that back home they grew up eating a lot of beans, so she knows how to cook them and use them in dishes. But she finds she often forgets to soak them overnight, so she ends up not having any beans to cook with. So here's what I suggested to her. I told her, try setting your alarm on your phone once or twice a week near bedtime to remind you to toss some dried beans into a pot of water before you go to sleep. Then the next morning, you would have soaked beans ready to be cooked up. Friend, if you have the same problem, try this strategy too. Now here's a third simple strategy. Batch cook more beans at one time. This means cook up more beans than you need for the recipe. So don't just soak and cook up enough to make one meal's worth. Cook your beans up in bulk. I often soak about 2.5 to 3 cups of dried beans at one time, and then end up with at least 5 to 7 cups of the cooked beans. Why? Because I know this will save me time in the future. Here's how. First, I will take about 2 to 3 cups of the cooked beans to use immediately in a recipe. Then I will save the remaining portion in a container in the freezer. But before I do, I make sure I measure out the amount of cooked beans I will be freezing. and then write this on the label of the bag or container I'm using. And I try to freeze and measure portions according to amounts I know I will need in upcoming recipes. For example, if I'm cooking a big batch of chickpeas, I will know exactly how many extra cups of cooked chickpeas I will have frozen up and stored away. Then the next time I need some for a recipe, I can just take it out a day or two in advance to thaw out. So there's no need to cook up more chickpeas. So this strategy will save me time in terms of future prepping and make cooking up a future plant-based dish so much faster and easier. So today in this episode, we looked at 3 smart strategies you can use to help you save money on plant-based grocery shopping and overall time in the kitchen when using legumes like beans in your meals. These are to buy and use dried beans where possible, to pre-soak your beans overnight, and to batch cook up more beans than needed at one time, so you can freeze the rest in measured portions ready for the next recipe. Now here's an action step you can take. Choose one of these 3 strategies shared today about using beans and try it out in the coming week. Friend, I'm committed to giving you truly practical strategies that you can implement right away and are applicable to real life because I've lived it. I'm living it now and am sharing with you the success tips that truly work from my experience. I'm committed to helping you grow in confidence eating plant-based and to help you make this new lifestyle work in your own life. And that's what I've put into the Plant-Powered Life Transformation course. So when you join me inside this course, you'll be able to gain even more kitchen prep hacks, easy plant-based recipes, practical tips, and time-saving strategies you can use to help simplify plant-based eating and make it sustainable in your own life. Because it is sticking to this lifestyle for the long term that will really matter if you truly want to see lasting, real change in your health and life. Make sure to use the voucher code NEWYEAR20 at checkout to get 20% off this course. But you'll need to join the PPLT course before midnight this Friday, January 23rd. Go to plantnourish.com/PPLT course or see the link in the show notes for more details. Thank you for listening to the Plant-Based Eating Made Easy podcast. If this podcast has helped you, please take a moment to rate and leave a written review on the Apple Podcast app or on iTunes. Knowing how this podcast has made a difference in your life never fails to light me up. I may also select your review to be read on the show. Remember that moving to plant-based eating can be simple and doable, even with your existing health challenges and busy lifestyle. If you have a plant-based diet question you'd like me to answer on this show, share that question with me using the contact options in the show notes. Thanks for joining me today, and I can't wait to connect with you again in the next episode. Until next time, keep plant-focused and thriving, my friend.